Good evening, everyone. So I'm here to speak primarily on the two agenda items. The first one is One Exchange and 2430 West Main Street. So I have been in office almost 12 years, and just when you think you may have seen it all, a project like One Exchange comes up, and 2430, unfortunately, it comes up in the middle of an election year. As you heard from Mr. Nichols, and you all who, most of you had the ability to tour these buildings, first of all, let's remind ourselves where this building is. It is in the heart of downtown Waterbury, One Exchange. And 24 and 30 West Main, Bank Street are right in the back, where you all know where that is. You know, I'm really shocked, I have to tell you, at the candidate for mayor who, right out of the gate, without any research, without a single question to anyone in this administration, right out of the gate, slammed the project and went against the project. Right out of the gate. In an election year. One might think that a person who claims to be qualified and competent to run for mayor would at least learn about the transaction or the proposed transaction before coming out of the gate slamming it. And what does she do? She comes not only out of the gate slamming the project without a piece of information in regard to this transaction, and accuses this administration of only engaging in this transaction to take care of friends, claiming that the taxes that are owed to the city of Waterbury will be forgiven. Amazing. Without even taking a moment's time to read the purchase and sale agreements, where it is as clear as can be that all liens, all back taxes, anything owed will be reimbursed to the city of Waterbury before anyone gets anything else. That includes taxes, interest, marshal's fees, etc. When this podium was used tonight to talk about a conversation with someone on this board who allegedly claimed to Ms. Marano, why would I vote no and have someone put a target on my back? Really? Is that the type of talk you would expect from a candidate for mayor? But since we're talking about targets on people's backs, why don't we talk about all the Republicans who have stood tall on this board to do what they put the people elected them to do? Almost all the Republicans. Almost. Each one of those Republicans have had a target on their back by the Republican town chairman and this individual running for mayor through text messages, let's talk about the Republican town chairman. Through text messages, through harassing phone calls, through unpleasant conversations, whether it was Alderman Markey, Alderman Matthews, Alderman Nugent, or Alderwoman Mary Grace Cavallo, have all been the subject of this type of outrageous conduct and behavior from this Republican town chairman and members of this cabal running for mayor. A Republican town chairman who everyone knows doesn't even live in the city. Who everyone knows the Republican town chairman actually living with Dawn Myrano for a period of time. Who then went to live at Kelly Zimmerman's house, Alderwoman Kelly Zimmerman's house, for another period of time. All the while serving as a Republican town chairman. In order to serve as a Republican town chairman, you have to be an elector. In order to be an elector, you have to be a resident. In order to be a resident, you have to have an address. I mean, this is unbelievable. And then stand here and talk about people with targets on their back, when all of these aldermen have, for years, supported the city in many different ways. But the only time that they got targets on their back, when they didn't vote the way that Jeff Santapietro told them to vote. They stood up for themselves. Imagine that. Can you imagine that? And it's really ironic because they actually took Mary Grace Cavallo, threw her off the ticket because she voted too many times with the Democrats, yet other Republicans on this board voted just as often. Just as often. Why did Mary Grace Cavallo get lambasted for that? It's amazing to me. But she had the courage to stand up for herself. She had the courage to believe in Bella and others who she's representing, and that's why you're all sitting here, I presume, to make the city a better place for those who follow in our footsteps, and run a primary and beat them. That's who we are. That's who we're supposed to be. We don't have to agree on everything. We shouldn't. There should be a loyal opposition. There should be questions asked and answered. But when the city is going in the direction that it is going in, and the people of Waterbury for the last 12 years have been so clear in their decisions at election time, I commend all of you for the work that you're doing. And to come out of the gate, I'm running for mayor, beautiful. We love when people run for mayor. To come out of the gate and start slamming the city on every single issue without doing any homework, attacking the chamber, attacking the Northwest Regional Workforce Board, attacking city aldermen, attacking the administration. It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. And to stand here at this podium and use it as the bully pulpit is just incredulous to me. This building, let's think about this. The price tag on this building, let me get it right, is $4,466,000. There's over $800,000 owed in taxes. When those taxes are paid back to the city will have purchased the building for $3.66 million. The city has received, thanks to Ron Napoli and our state delegation, $7 million bond authorization for this project because the state of Connecticut recognized the value of this project and what it means to the revitalization, the continued commitment of the state of Connecticut for revitalization at the downtown Waterbury. They recognize the building is 76% empty. They recognize that the business plan for the building is dysfunctional. They recognize that other people have tried to buy the building and had to walk away because it's just a mess under the condominium association that's currently in place. It is what it is. It's a golden opportunity for the city of Waterbury to bail this building out of further disrepair before it really gets out of control. It's an opportunity for the city of Waterbury to fill that building. 2 very interested long-term tenants want 1 floor each. Dr. Schiff, who has 1 floor himself, has asked to stay on. Not sure, Attorney Nichols is, and I've heard is someone had mentioned maybe interested in a month-to-month lease. Either way, we own that building from day one. Revenue starts coming in from day one. And we can use the remaining $3.6 million, $3.66 million to do the necessary repairs in that building that it so desperately needs as it continues to deteriorate every time it rains. That building cannot afford to go through another winter without work being done on it. It's just amazing to me. Because it's an election, we're going to throw that out the window? And let's talk about what another speaker said, who, by the way, if you can remember one single thing that Mr. DiPillo has ever been in favor of, please tell me. He was against this city hall revitalization. He was against Waterbury Yukon. He was against the Palace Theater, the biggest economic driver in downtown Waterbury. Against. He was against every single thing that I can remember long before I took office 12 years ago. I'm going all the way back when I was a police sergeant. Against, and against. Stands here, says whatever he wants. Most of it is absolutely untrue. Positively. And everything he was against has come to fruition and is doing well. The one building he mentioned on Rose Hill really got me going, only because if you'll remember, and Officer Di Giovancarlo and others will remember Rose Hill. Rose Hill was a prison, a prison in downtown Waterbury. A prison for adolescent women under the age of 18. An absolute prison with locked doors, alarms, all kinds of things going on. Cops were called there 10, 15 times a week for all kinds of terrible things. We wanted that out of that downtown Waterbury. My administration, we needed it out of downtown Waterbury. It was a problem for downtown Waterbury, a continuing problem. And we took action. Today, the YMCA owns it, runs it. It's a school. It's our mentoring program for children Bella's age and younger. It is a thriving place with a thriving director running it the way that this city asked it to be run. They have lived up to every single obligation they said they were going to, and more. This is what happens when you have a vision for what is right for the residents of our city. A vision for downtown Waterbury that includes the revitalization of the green, the complete rehabilitation of the rectory building that's now fully occupied by University of Connecticut master's degree program, which means more people come into this city every day just to go to that school for the master's degree programs being offered in that building, whose roof was caved in, who I thought was probably as close to a knockdown as it could be, and somehow Montagno Brothers rebuilt the building, and it's magnificent. Who the downtown vision continues. Brown Building turned into dormitories, which are full. They're full of UConn students, people who are actually occupying downtown Waterbury and learning at the same time. More plans for more dormitory space. The Holland Hughes Building, empty for 20 plus years. City of Waterbury went to the state of Connecticut, like we did for the Rectory Building, and said, listen, we have an opportunity here to partner with Post University. The state recognized the opportunity, sent over some money. The private developer that did the Brown Building developed the Holland Hughes Building. And it's a beautiful Class A office space building, and it's the future home, we're told by Post, for the Malcolm Baldrige Business School. That's what we're told, and that's what we're hoping for. There is no easy solution to any of these projects. Believe me, 36 North Main Street, a project that now is owned by a private developer, back on the tax rolls, and University of Connecticut has signed a lease to occupy the space to complement their expanding footprint as we speak right here in downtown Waterbury, like they did with the Rectory Building. We own the Rectory Building. They lease it. We sold 36 North Main Street, but before we did, we were able to secure a $10 million grant, much like this $7 million grant, and much like the $5 million grant to redo the Rectory Building, the Brown Building, Holland Hughes Building, and now Exchange Place and the Bank Street properties. Ms. Marano talks and says, we're not a real estate development company. Oh, but we are. Oh, but we are. That's what's called visionary. When you have buildings that need a little extra, that's what cities do. Ms. Marano talks all the time about New Britain, and I love New Britain, and I love the mayor of New Britain. But I looked up today, and New Britain has been the recipient of state subsidy, state grant, after state grant, after state grant, after state grant, after state grant to rehabilitate and revitalize downtown New Britain. Public record, Office of Policy and Management. I can only deduct that this is all politics because there is no common sense at all involved in this, thinking why this is so wrong for Waterbury. $7 million coming from the state of Connecticut, money that will bring this building back to life, put tenants in downtown Waterbury, boots on the ground, feet on the ground to support our downtown merchants who were so badly hurt by the COVID crisis, right? There's 109 parking spaces underneath that building. 109. What is better than that? I mean, it's just an optimal piece of property. Why didn't the city foreclose on floor 2? Because what is the sense in foreclosing on floor 2 when we can't foreclose on the entire building? What are we going to do with one floor? No one is paying condo fees, except for maybe 1 or 2 people. No one. We can't do anything. Guy on the 6th floor, you were in his office. No carpeting. Sheetrock's moldy. Mold in the woodwork cabinets. Place is shot. Mold everywhere. What happened with that? He asked the people from the condominium association to repair the water infiltration problem. They said, I'm sorry, there's no money. Nobody's paying, everybody left. They're gone. The city has an obligation to take it over. That's what leadership is called, folks. To go up to Hartford and ask for help and have the relationships up there and the state delegation up there that can support us for that ask to have Waterbury downtown revitalization phase 3, just like phase 2 and just like phase 1, just like New Britain, just like Meriden, just like Hartford, New Haven, Bridgeport. Why shouldn't Waterbury people have that opportunity as well? Why? Why should we leave the building empty, waiting for it to further deteriorate when it's not worth anything? Why should we not utilize our partners in our state government to help get us going in the right direction, particularly after COVID? Why shouldn't we do what everyone else is doing? Why shouldn't these kids have the opportunity to enjoy and reap the benefits of those investments, like the school at Rose Hill, the YMCA, UConn? You know how many Waterbury kids go to UConn? The enrollment went up 10% this year, more so than any other regional campus in the state of Connecticut. Why? Because we're working it. That's why. And we're working it every day. And that's the difference. That's called vision. That's called leadership. That's called courage. And it's not called targets. We know what targets mean. Not you Democrats, but you Republicans sure do. And I commend you. And I will forever be in your gratitude, all of you, for standing up for what you believe in and not letting these bullies do what they did to the city when they were running the city. We're still paying for it, and we'll pay for it until 2037, when they were running the city of Waterbury. Their track record speaks for itself, and ours speaks for ourselves. Make no mistake about it. And it's not right when individuals can run for office, tear this city down, criticize people who have given their heart and soul to this town, elected officials and others. It's not right. Yet they can do it and get away with it for a period of time until we go to the polls. And then you have a former alderman. Here's the good news. He says, well, some of you will be here and some of you won't. Well, one thing that's for sure, he won't, because the people saw to that a while ago. You know, you're probably all mad at me by now for talking too much. And I don't blame you one bit, because I am passionate about it. Because I believe, as you believe, that this city is on the move. I believe, as you believe, that we have our challenges like every city. But I'll take any single one of you, at any time, at any place, alongside each other to do what's right for this city and to have the courage to do what's right for this city. I'll move on. I promise I'll be shorter. Bristol Babcock. Look, it's a project that's been near and dear. We've tried to do as much as we could. It's not an easy piece. It's complicated. You heard from a lot of people here tonight. Look, this is a complicated piece. But one thing for sure, this is the best deal we can come up with. I'd love to tell you we could get more. We can't. We're lucky to get what we got. You know, you talk about, people can talk, you know, it's so convenient when I get up to talk, they leave, but we have tried desperately to do something with this piece, especially since the fire in 2015. You heard a lot of things about different people's ideas, and I'm very sympathetic to the residents. I don't live down there, but I do live on that side of the city. But we can only go by what the science tells us, and the science tells us what they tell us. If there's issues with the contract, the contract was worked on by 3 lawyers, all 3 of which have extensive brownfield experience. If there's issues with the contract, we'll look at those, but we need to get this done, ladies and gentlemen. We need to get this done because we have been accepted into the Connecticut Brownfield Remediation Program, which gives us opportunity to apply for grants that are going to clean this property up. Representative Reyes, Representative DiGiovancarlo, Representative Napoli, Representative Butler, Senator Hartley, These are the people who are working on all of our behalf, and two of them happen to be on this board right now, which is pretty cool, working on behalf of the residents of Waterbury to get this brownfield. Do you know we've gotten $159 million in the last 12 years in federal and state money? $159 million. And we're going to walk away from $7 million to buy a building that's falling apart down in Exchange Place? Kidding me right now? What sense does that make? The state of Connecticut wants Waterbury strong. They want Waterbury strong. They want it clean. They want the brownfields remediated. They want buildings like what we're doing down at Wick. They see this as the key to the revitalization of the city of Waterbury, and so do all of you, and so do I. And so will the people that come here after us. At the end of the day, it's the only way. So Mr. Drubner, we get $1 million from him. That property is in so many different corporate, you can't pierce the corporate veil. Remember? Mr. DePillo used to sit here and say, why don't you go after 313 Mill Street owner? We can't. Why don't you go after Animan owner? We can't. Why don't you go after Freight Street owner? We can't. The law is the law. Easy to sit here and say we should do this, do that, and do this, and do that. That's really great, but we can't. What we can do is work with what we have. And what we have is a problem. I'm Bristol Babcock. And we worked for a long time with the owner to get him to give us the $1 million. Why is the $1 million so important? Because that $1 million is the seed money that's required for us to get the federal and state grants. That's why the $1 million is so important. Would I have liked to get 2 or 3 or 5? Sure. Come on. You all know the work we've done here. We got what we could get, and we're lucky to have gotten it. Also cleans up the mess on the adjoining properties down there, where the city put a sewer line right through Mr. Drubner's property, not realizing it was his property and not city property about 25 years ago. Cleans that mess up, cleans up Elise Drive, where the city put a road through Mr. Drubner's property, again, thinking it was city property. These are the issues that come up. Takes a lot of work to solve them. Takes a lot of creativity and out-of-the-box thinking. It's not so easy. It's certainly not as easy as standing up here for 5 minutes of time and tearing this place apart like no one's ever seen before. I've never seen anything like it. I've been coming to public meetings almost since my first promotion as sergeant, representing the police department, all of them. I've never heard people talk so badly about their hometown and the people who work so hard to try to keep it going in the right direction. And it's ironic because we talk about a target on the back. That's the most amazing thing I've heard because, boy, I'll tell you, the target on the back, there was a lot of targets on a lot of people's backs. Some of them were placed down there by the FBI. And some of those people went to jail for it. 2 mayors. Oh, that's right. We need to keep the city going in a forward direction with the people we have in place. I'm really confident that you're all going to prevail in the next election 2 weeks from now. But I'm going to tell you, for now, my job is simple. Get the work done that needs to get done. We have a grant for Exchange Place. We have $1 million, and we have the state of Connecticut deeply involved in the Bristol Babcock piece. Connecticut Deep, Federal EPA, DECD. They're all very familiar with this piece because we've done nothing but drive them crazy about it. So we got it into the Connecticut Brownfields Remediation Program. It's accepted, signed, sealed, and delivered. Let's get going. Thank you.